What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my crypto journey. My name is Rodney, and today I'm going to be doing a recap of the Saitama AMA. I listened to it a little earlier today, and you know what? Look, it'd be easy for me to sit here and windmill LeBron James dunk on some of the Saitama community because honestly, I mean, look at the chart, right? This thing has been trending down since November, right? This is not a consolidation period, you guys. Look, we've been in the sixes for like 3 days. This is a clear trend down. If you can't believe that, if you don't want to see that, well, hey, you can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. And right now, if you're dollar cost averaging into this thing at any point, you've been catching knives. Now, like I said, it's low-hanging fruit, and it's kind of sad at this point. And honestly, a lot of the people that follow my channel were Saitama holders. I mean, I've heard of people losing tens of thousands of dollars. And technically, you never lose money until you sell, right? You never really lose money until you sell, technically, right? Because it could pump one day. But you know, there's a few different trains of thought, and I'll get into the AMA right now. One train of thought is like, hey, you know, I'm going to DCA all the way down, right? Hopefully this consolidates soon so you can stop catching knives. And then when the price pumps, I'm going to be way out ahead, more than I invested, right? But the other side of this is, and what I've learned is like sometimes you start DCAing on the way down and it never really stops. So you never really get the dollar cost average until you hit an actual floor. So you're really banking on this thing to pump, right? And I want to lead with that. Well, Russ really mentioned that in June, they want to make sure, well, they really want to time everything because historically the market pumps May, June, July, right? That's when we get some sort of market pump. That's what happened last year, right? So Russ was saying like historically, right, the market starts to pump then. So they want to time all the big announcements then. But they kind of announced a lot of those big announcements today, right? The fact that they are doing some sort of partnership with a centralized exchange based in India, I guess. So they want to have their own centralized exchange. Now, I don't get it. I think that, you know, when you're not laser focused on one thing, I think that's only a detriment to your product. But that's just my opinion, right? I think they should really focus on Saitamask. Saitamask is a load of doo-doo water, right? They need to get it working, right? They need a string of W's when it comes to launching products on Saitamask. You know, look, I hate, so Jonathan P.R. Torres, right? I hate talking about another man because I don't want to hurt his income, right? But what he mentioned the other day alarmed me, that he is vetting products for Saitamask. What gives him the qualifications to vet products for Saitamask? What are those qualifications? I don't understand that. To me, that's kind of weird, right? If he's your ambassador for reaching out to other products in DeFi, I don't think that's the right move. Now, look, when it comes to leading AMAs and stuff, I think no doubt that's good for Saitama, right? Because he has a huge following of the Saitama community, right? And they're going to buy what's listed on Saitamask. That's just what the Saitama community does. So he's good for that. But when it comes to vetting projects, to me, that makes it look, you know, less like a serious product, in my opinion, right? That's just my opinion. They're talking about the debit card integration, the Visa Pay, the Visa card, debit card integration to Saitamask. You know, it feels like a lot of things they're doing, they're kind of behind the curve, right? A lot of platforms already do that. So you're coming, late to the game with old tech, and that's not good, right? I mean, it's going to help people who are currently using Saitamask because they don't have to buy Saitama on another platform and then send it to Saitamask, because that defeats the purpose of Saitamask. It's like, if I have, my MetaMask or my Trust Wallet or an exchange, why would I use Saitamask when I could just use those exchanges? There's no benefits, except of course for the Saitamask exclusive. And so far, the last exclusive we had to Saitamask was Saita Realty, which was a utter complete failure. I just think that the benefits to using Uniswap or some other swap compared to Saitamask, it's just like the other swaps are just better. Why? Because you can trade Ethereum or USDT and not have to deal with any of those sell taxes. It's like you get double taxed when you sell Saitama for another token in the Saitama ecosystem. You get taxed on the sell fee of Saitama and the buy fee of that token. It's like all the while the team's making money, right? So there was that. Liquidity, right? That was an issue. The liquidity locks, I think, the end of May, and they could relock it. Now, a lot of people are saying that they're going to run off with the money, guys. I can't see that to be true. Like, you can't blatantly scam people in this space. Like, I mean, you can, but not a product of this stature, right? The things that they're doing, you really got to dig deep to really understand it, right? I know what's going on. You see all these top wallets dumping and siphoning money out to fund their personal lives, right? That's obvious, right? That's obvious to me. They're selling tokens to do whatever. Who knows, right? But it's to the tune of millions of dollars, and this is proven, right? When it comes to the liquidity unlocking, I can't imagine them pulling all the liquidity out and just running away with it, right? Now, there were some issues. They stated that, hey, some other people, like some of the original devs in this project, may or may not hold the keys to this project. So we're going to have to see what happens when that liquidity unlocks. But Russ made a good point. Now, a lot of people think that liquidity lockers are extremely important. Now that they are important for investor confidence, you have to understand that the team, they need the liquidity sometimes to do big things. Like if the liquidity is locked up, you can't use that liquidity to get on exchanges or to buy big things or whatever it is, right? So it makes sense for them to want some of the liquidity unlocked. Of course, that makes a lot of people nervous, especially when it comes to their track record. Now, they did mention the fact that a lot of the, hype around this product was built on hype, right? Excuse me. A lot of the price pump was built on hype and not having any real project. And they mentioned now that, hey, now we're building, the floor for this product to, next time we have a bull run for it to go crazy based off actual utility. But I don't know. I mean, I think that if you look at a project like WAGMI, and I hate to compare it, it's that they had all their ducks in the row before they started partnerships and saying they're going to partner with people and marketing and those sorts of things. They had that stuff done before they started doing this crazy marketing, so that when, the hype was there, people had an actual product to fall back on, right? They have their NFTs out, WAGMI does, and they have their actual beta coming out very, very soon, right? And their market cap's like $20 million. And Saitama was at a multi-billion dollar market cap with no real product, only based on hype and frankly based on lies, right? Because a lot of those things never happened. And so now that the momentum's died off, sometimes that's project suicide, right? Sometimes that's project suicide. It's like when you hype the community up and then you have failure after failure after failure. And now finally, when you're starting to get your shit together, it's like, okay, now we're ready. And even still, there's some mysteries, right? That's why they need to put a string of W's together. Now, honestly, guys, there wasn't much to that AMA. It was a bunch of hype. They want to get a centralized exchange, other things, right? But, new projects on Saitamask, and Russ answered some questions. But, guys, there was no new alpha in there, right? And obviously, you see that reflected in the price. Now, it's up 6% on the 24-hour period. But, guys, look at where this is at. Come on now. This is bad, right? I mean, look at the last, 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks is just falling hard. This thing is trending down. So, if they have everything together, I do expect this to pump in a bull market. Do I expect it to get to all-time high again? No, not anytime soon. And I'm just being realistic, guys. Look, I'm not always right when it comes to some of these projects, but you got to look at sentiment, guys. It's not just because of the market. Bitcoin, like I've said before, has been bouncing around between $32,000, $35,000 or $35,000 and $4,800 since January. Going back and forth. It's anywhere at any given time the last 3 months, right? Between those two numbers. Saitama was at look at where it was at, and now look at where it's at. Bitcoin's been trading sideways. Bitcoin moves the market. Bitcoin is the market, right? And Saitama's just dumping. So to say that it's moving with the market is an absolute lie, and it's frankly hopium. So like I said, it's low-hanging fruit. Obviously, I have a lot of disdain for this team just because of the BS that they're just putting out there and people eat it up. But the thing is, like I said before, you can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. And there's a few people out there, right, who still hold the bag and are still going to continue to hold the bag for eternity, right? Because this team can do no wrong. But I think a lot of people are starting to, wisen up in this space. And that's all I want, for people to become wise, because I was there too. You have to understand, if you go watch that November 13th video of me celebrating the Saitamask release event, you can see a stark demeanor change, because I come from a world, retail, which is, you have to be professional, especially the company I was working for. I know what it's like to have professional meetings and having business partners and those sorts of things, and kind of the professionalism needed to go into that. And when I watched that November 13 event, when I finally had one chance to see how professional these guys were, right? Because before that, what did we see? AMAs with Steve at Rocket Crypto, Willie D AMAs, right? I never really got to see the team. And I was looking at like the whole scope of everything at Vegas. And I'm like, dude, this is extremely unprofessional. And then, of course, the string of negative things that came out after that, right? Because it just wasn't the Vegas event and all the whales sailing off in the Vegas event. Because that's what happened. People sold on the Vegas event, right? It was a lot of the things that happened after that. The copyright issue, the Willie D thing, Russ's past resurfacing, a lot of those things, right? So it wasn't just the November 13th event, the Buy the Rumor, Sell the News, that made this dump. It was a lot of different things. And you could see like the slow downtrend in the weeks to come. And of course, the CERTIC audit taking forever, right? So I was there too at one point, guys, but this channel is called My Crypto Journey, right? It's my journey through crypto. And I haven't been stuck in one echo chamber. I haven't. I made that a purpose not to do that. I want to talk about each and every project that I can come across and look at it, right? And deep dive into the white paper. And the truth is about this space, most projects just ain't shit. And frankly, a lot of products that, get hyped really ain't shit. And they're not going to be here next year. That's the honest to God truth. They ain't shit. They're not. They do some basic ass shit. They're doing what everybody else is doing. They're reskinning play to earn games. They're doing NFTs. They're doing a swap or something like that, right? And that's it. That's what they do. And they're going to pump because they're going to pay a bunch of influencers to go on a promotional campaign, and then they're going to dump. Now, some products will make it out. I'm telling you, some products will make it out because that's what happens, right? And the ones that make it out, if you're investing early in those products, you're going to make a ton of money, right? But you have to be able to look at a lot of these projects and kind of judge them for what they have. And the best way to do that is to look at a bunch of different type of projects, get outside your influencer circle, right? Watch different people, and don't be afraid to check out another community. Don't be afraid to watch a YouTube channel that you don't really like, that you don't associate with. Guys, I watch all kinds of content that I don't agree with, right? I'll watch an AMA with one of these crazy Saitama shills to see if they got something new to bring. I'll watch a classic crypto video to see if there's anything good. I'll watch all kinds of videos just to see like, hey, did I miss something? That's why I don't block people on Twitter unless they're spamming, and a lot of you guys spam, right? Even if you say mean things, because sometimes somebody leaves a comment that makes some sense, right? It's same thing in YouTube comments, right? Sometimes someone leaves like a real critical comment that I look at and I go, hey, that's really important, right? But I'm challenging you to get outside this community token space, right? And go venture off into some of the blue chips. The most efficient way I've been able to make money in this space is taking the money I make off these speculative plays, at least my initial investment, right, and some profit, investing the rest in blue chips, and then seeing if this pumps. And if they pump, oh my God, great, right? Because this is the way you make an insane amount of money in this space. But this is also a way to lose money, you get rugged, and all those sorts of things. So, the AMA today, I didn't feel like there was anything new. I mean, to me, it's not really that exciting. I mean, if you're excited about them partnering up with a centralized exchange, now it's like they're just doing too many things. Just stick to Saitamask. Perfect Saitamask. That's all anyone cares about. Like if you're single laser focus in this space, I feel like that's when the products do well. You're trying to do 10, 15 different things at once. It's like no one knows what's really going on, right? Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments down below. What did you think of the AMA? I thought it was lackluster. I could have, took this time to really dunk on Saitama, but it's almost just sad at this point. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.